What's good, y'all? Welcome back. Reporting to you live from a hotel. I'm on vacation, but I'm kind of a psychopath when it comes to this basketball stuff, man. I decided to bring my recording equipment because it is the off season. The draft just passed on Thursday, and rumors are coming out. It seems like every 30 minutes. It seems like rumors are dropping all the time. So I just wanted to bring everything just in case, even though I forgot my ring light, but I got everything else that I need. So I'm here to talk about some stuff, man. Mainly Kyrie Irving and the Brooklyn Nets. I think that is the most important thing to talk about. Leave a like, subscribe if you are new. If you tuned into my draft stream yesterday, I really appreciate you. It went really well. Like, we had I think 130 viewers total. A lot of likes, active chat. Very good for the first stream on this channel that I did not even promote, did not announce. It was the last second thing that I decided to do. At the end of this video, I'm gonna just talk about some maybe future plans for streams moving forward, especially this off season, since free agency is about to come up. Want to stream a little more, so we'll talk about that at the end of this video. But let's talk about the Brooklyn Nets, Kyrie Irving. It got reported earlier this week that contract talks are not looking great, and Kyrie has the potential to pursue opportunities with other teams. Like, that is a thing that might happen. I think the word that Woj decided to use was an impasse. I'm not sure what that means, but I think it just means things ain't going as expected. And now it's looking like Kyrie might pursue other options. And then yesterday, on Thursday, before the draft, which I'm glad this didn't take too much attention away from the draft, but it was very threatening to be able to do that. There was a tweet that came out. I think it was either from Woj or Shams, maybe both. They were basically just updating us on the situation, how Kyrie has a list of teams that he would prefer to play for, which those teams included both LA teams, Clippers and Lakers, the New York Knicks, the Philadelphia 76ers, interestingly, the Dallas Mavericks, and the Miami Heat. And those are the list of teams that he would play for if he does decide to leave the Brooklyn Nets and not re-sign. And then the other tweet that came out was, Kevin Durant might look to explore other options depending on what a return for a possible Kyrie Irving trade would be. And this is just definitely a bombshell, because if anybody else reports it, if it was, I'm not going to name drop anybody, but if it's not Woj or Shams, you don't really believe it. That's what I used to say too. But there are some other credible guys out there, of course. But when Woj and Shams say it, it's almost like law. Like, when they say something, it's very much true, because they are always ahead of the game. Like, if you watch the draft and you have their notifications turned on, you already know who's about to be picked before Adam Silver even announces it. So Woj and Shams are like the godfathers of NBA rumors and just off-season talk. Like, they are the guys to go to. And if they say something like this, it might be true. It might be true. And Kyrie Irving's very vocal about the media. He did not fire back at them for saying that. So it must be some truth behind it. And another tweet came out today. I saw it on Legion Hoops, but it was reported by Woj. He might have said it on ESPN. I don't really watch ESPN like that, but basically saying that, it's kind of smoke and mirrors between all the other teams that have reportedly had interest in Kyrie Irving. Except for the Lakers. The Lakers are the lone team that will have interest right now. And I think he said Miami Heat have a little bit of interest, but it's not nothing crazy. That was a lot. That's a lot to unpack. It definitely is. I'm going to start this with the entire Brooklyn situation. What they have gone through over the last, we'll say, since they signed Kyrie and KD, the last 3 years. Obviously the first year that, they were together in Brooklyn, KD missed the entire season, rehabbing from that Achilles injury. Kyrie Irving also missed a decent chunk of that season too. So that year was kind of a wash. They didn't make the playoffs because it was still they still had the young, fun guys in there like Karis LeVert, Jared Allen and company, Spencer Dinwiddie. Kenny Atkinson was still coaching for a portion of that season. They made the playoffs. They got swept in the first round. That's fine. Then they come back. They looked good early on. Dinwiddie goes down. Then they make the James Harden trade. Big splash. They look dominant when they're on the court together, but the big issue was they were never on the court together. Both Kyrie and James got injured in the postseason. That hindered them from potentially winning a championship. And then you get to this season. Nobody can control what Kyrie Irving's vaccine situation was like. Nobody knew that COVID would ever be a thing. And nobody knew that the state of New York would be on that strict of lockdown to where you can't go to work if you don't have the vaccine. Nobody expected that. But it happened. It's a part of life now. Like, it was a part of life. It happened, and that hindered them from ever getting chemistry. It hindered them from keeping players happy. James Harden was frustrated. Kevin Durant was injured. He was getting frustrated. Like, it hindered a lot. It changed a lot for this team. And they made the big trade. Ben Simmons never played for them this season. And they got something in the first round. Like, that's pretty much the quick timeline, quick breakdown of what's the last 3 seasons of the Brooklyn Nets have been, bro. If they lose Kyrie Irving and then Kevin Durant also ends up getting out the door somehow, which is probably going to be a little more difficult because, he did just sign like a long extension. It's Kevin Durant. It's going to take a lot to move a player of his caliber. But if they end up losing all three superstars that they just had, not a good look, bro. Just not a good look. It's not a good look at all, man. It shows you like the super team narrative just might be a bad thing, something that's dead in the water. And now they're looking like they could be entering like a new phase. It's possible. It is possible. Ben Simmons is probably sitting there like, what the hell? Like, I thought I was about to play with 2 of the best offensive players in the league. Instead, I might be here by myself. Like, that's just how crazy this might get for Brooklyn. And now I just want to move to, now it's like only one team is probably really interested. And I can kind of see why. And I can see why it's the Lakers. I can. Kyrie Irving's a phenomenal basketball player. He is. But there's just been issues with his availability. Like, that's just been the biggest thing. Injuries has been a big part of why he's missed a lot of time. But then there's been the other things. The vaccine was not necessarily like in his control. Like, he could have got the vax, but I'm not going to tell anybody just to get vaccine just to play basketball. Like, I'm not going to tell anybody that. If he felt comfortable, that's on him. That's his decision. There's been some other things, but it's mainly been injuries. Like, I think he's only played 103 games in the last 3 seasons, which is an absurd number. Like, that is a crazy number. So I can understand why the Brooklyn Nets don't want to give him a long-term deal. And I can understand why other teams that were reported to have interest maybe are like, we might pump the brakes just a little bit. Just a little bit, because we don't know what we're going to get from him. Like, we don't, which is true. Like, when he's on the court, he's one of the best players in the world. But the issue is when he's on the court, it's not always him being available. Like, that's the issue right there. So I don't know, it's intriguing, man. And I can see why the Lakers are the one team that is interested, because it's the Lakers. They're willing to mortgage a lot to have a chance to win the championship. And if you get Kyrie Irving, depending on how you get him is the question. Like, how do you get rid of Russell Westbrook's contract? What other moves are you going to be able to make when you have 3 max contracts locked up on your roster? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but this is probably going to be the biggest domino to fall in free agency. It's going to be the biggest domino to fall because it's not like a superstar studded class, but that's going to be the big domino to fall. Some other things on my mind, though, because I don't want to make this all Brooklyn Nets, Kyrie Irving, KD talk. Dejounte Murray rumors, potentially. I know Jake Fisher was the one that reported it, but the way Dejounte reacted on Twitter, like quote tweeting it, just made it a little interesting, man. And when I was on stream last night, I asked chat, like, where would you want to see him go? I put a little poll up. It was go back to the Spurs, and then it was the Hawks, Cavs, and then I put other. And I said, where do you think he'll end up? Not where do you want to see him go? Where do you think he'll end up? And my guy Gabe put in the comments, he was like, I really want to see him go to Denver. And I'm like, I got to think about it. I'm like, that would be an interesting spot, man. Dejounte Murray's a really good player. He's an all-star, obviously. Had a really good year in San Antonio. I think San Antonio, from the looks of their draft last night, looks like they might be trending towards a little more of a like full rebuild, just with some of the moves that they made. A little bit of a full rebuild, and I'm here for it. Trade Dejounte, whether it's Denver, I would really like the Cavs too. I really love Atlanta. Trade them, get some value back, get some young assets, and just rock out with what you got. You know, I would really like to see that. And Dejounte is a player that I think can impact winning basketball, like really impacts on winning basketball, and I think he can play with anybody. It's kind of interesting, man. I don't know. PJ Tucker opted out, and they're saying he can get the full mid-level exception, which is $10 million a year for somebody that's 36, 37 years old. Hey, go get your money if you have to, man. People mad at John Wall because he took his player option. I love it, John. Hey, if you have the opportunity to get paid $47 million to not step on the basketball floor, by all means, get your money. I'm not opposed to young black men getting their money, getting their bag. Love to see it. Another thing that infuriated me today. Not really infuriated because I don't want to sound like such a hater that a man got a job at the professional basketball level. But the Hornets, they brought back Steve Clifford, and I'm just not a fan of it. Off face value, I'm just not a fan of it. Not because Steve Clifford's this bad. He's not a bad coach. He's actually a pretty good coach. You know, he got those Magic teams to the playoffs, I think, back-to-back years. He did some decent things with the Charlotte roster too before, like with Kemba Walker. Kemba had his best seasons, I think, with Steve Clifford as the head coach. He's a good coach. He is a good coach. I just don't like the redundancy bringing back an old voice, especially with how young this team is. It feels like a Stan Van Gundy type hire, like in New Orleans. I'm just not a big fan of it, man. I would have, obviously, what happened with Kenny Atkinson, whatever reason he decided he did not want to coach this team, that's on him. Hopefully, it was just basketball related. It wasn't anything else. That sucks. I really was a fan of the D'Antoni push. I wanted to see that so much. When I saw he had a meeting with Michael Jordan in person, I'm like, yeah, they probably sealed the deal right there. But nah, Steve Clifford came out of left field and he took the job. I would have liked to see D'Antoni. I would like to see LaMelo in the D'Antoni offense. This team Charlotte got to get it right, man. They really got to get it right. They had an interesting draft last night. Pretty interesting draft. They got a first round talent late in the mid second round. Bryce McGowan was, I think, a very solid pickup. At the same time, it's like, where are you going to open up the minutes for him? Because you still got to open up minutes for James Bouknight, who was a lottery pick last year. They got the best true center in the draft. Outside of the top three, they got the next best big available, and then they ended up trading him away, which I don't know. I kind of liked having Jalen Duren there. I would say Durant because I don't know, it just rolls off the tongue easier. But Jalen Duren, they had him there, and they traded him, and they did get their center. They got the center that I had them getting in their mock draft. Mark Williams, who I really like, but interesting draft. They have some interesting moves to make. They were reportedly willing to attach a first round pick or two just to get rid of Gordon Hayward, which is insane. Maybe that's why they did make that trade with Detroit to get some extra capital in to be able to move Gordon Hayward. Are you going to keep Terry Rozier for the long run, or do you have to trade him to get minutes for Bouknight, for Bryce McGowan? This team's in a weird spot, and the offseason will be telling. Free agency will be telling to see if this team is actually going to be able to make that playoff push. But so far, I'm not liking the start. If Hornets fans are watching this, how do you feel? Let me know. Am I tripping? I hope I am tripping because I like this team a lot. But, man, I'm not a fan of the Steve Clifford hire, bro. Not really. He is a defensive-minded coach, though, so maybe was one of the reasons why. But I don't like bringing an old voice in. Like, you just got rid of the guy a few years ago. Now you're bringing him back. Not the biggest fan, man. But, yeah, this video was longer than what I thought it was going to be. Because more stuff just started coming to mind that, like, yeah, this just happened. This just happened too. And I'm probably forgetting some things, man. I really am. I'm probably forgetting a few things. The draft was great. Had a fun time. Yeah, let's talk about the streaming stuff real quick. Because the live streaming on YouTube, that was my first time doing it. I wanted to stream the draft last year on YouTube, but I was kind of dumb and didn't know that you had to get your account pre-approved like in 24 hours in advance to be able to stream. So I didn't get to stream the draft last year on YouTube. I had to do it on Facebook Live, which was cool, but on YouTube was so much better this year, man. Like 1,000 times better. So I'm thinking about, at least for the off season, streaming like once a week. Like, I think that is my plan. I want to stream like one time a week. Just to talk, just to interact with you guys. Because I feel like, when I drop videos and stuff, like, y'all do be in the comments and stuff. But just to be able to sit there and interact with y'all right away. Y'all can ask questions, we can just, chop it up for real. Like, I like engaging with you guys, and it was fun. Like, I was sitting here for 3.5 hours, like, and it didn't feel like it. It was fun. I'm just sitting in my hotel room after a nice day, just chilling, talking basketball, which is what I love to do. It was so fun. So I'm thinking about streaming like once a week. just once a week, maybe like on Mondays, because Monday just seems like a chill day. It's the start of the week, so maybe if you don't like Mondays, at least Mondays are the day that Reek will be streaming, so we can just chill, chop it up for maybe like an hour or so. Free agency's coming up, so we can talk about all the moves, all the trades, signings. Summer league's coming up. We can talk about the early games in Vegas. Like, we can talk about so much. Like, we got to keep content flowing, man. And I think streaming is a good way to do so. Shout out to my friends that gave me the idea to get like a stream in a week. Like, I think that's doable. I really do. Content's about to be coming out like crazy. Honestly, like, it's about to be like, maybe once July hits, it's gonna be nonstop. If you was around last year, you saw I did the What's Next series. Content's gonna be coming out in bunches, bro. Like, we got 30 teams to talk about, and we got 30 teams to talk about over the course of the off season. 30 teams to talk about. I have some guests lined up. I'm gonna just spoil it for y'all now because I rock with y'all. I got guests lined up to talk about their favorite teams. So last year it was just me speculating what I would want to see teams do. Now I'm gonna have fans of these teams who also create content, which is dope, but fans that watch majority of these teams' games, because I'm gonna just be like, I can't watch every Cleveland Cavalier game, even though I really like watching them. I can't watch every single one. I watch every Celtics game, but that's my team, so I'm gonna bring in people that are basically experts of their teams because they watch them play all the time. How do they think about this past season for them? What did they like? What did they dislike? What do they want to see their team do moving forward? How did they feel about the draft? All that. I think that's an interesting concept because I see everybody has their own way of doing like a What's Next series. My guy Devin does an amazing job with what he does running the NBA. He does a phenomenal job with what he does. Like, he breaks things down in that aspect, and he puts in a lot of time and work. And other people just do different things that work for them. I came up with this idea like about a month or so ago. Been working on getting guys scheduled to come on. I got about 10-ish people set right now. I'm gonna have some more. Probably won't have somebody for every team because I don't know fans of every single team that also are like not big time content creators, but they create content in their own right. So we're gonna keep trying to find. I want to try and get all 30 teams. We're gonna start. I'll announce what team we start with, but yeah, I will announce what team we start with. That team might not have somebody though. It just might not. It just might be me talking. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. So make sure you got the notification bell turned on. Make sure you're subscribed, because I know there's always people viewing that are not subscribed. I don't know why. Look, we're trying to get to not only 600. We want to hit 1K before the season starts, and we want to get this monetized because I don't see why not. If we're gonna do this, we might as well go all in. And y'all are such a great community. I'm rambling, but I'm just in a talking mood right now. Talking mood, man. Like streaming last night just made me realize, like damn, like y'all really do rock with me. My guy Bonsu was watching at 6 a.m. on the other side of the globe. Like, I'm like, wow, like that just kind of put it in perspective. Like, people enjoy watching you talk about sports. That's a blessing. That's a blessing. One of the guests I'm gonna have on to talk about his team. I joined his live on TikTok because he's pretty big on TikTok, and he was saying yeah, like I just love listening to your videos. I love the way that you articulate yourself. Like, it was just like that's real love, and that's just stuff that keeps me going as a small creator. I'm getting a little sentimental here, but that keeps me going as a small creator, man. It really does. So, we're just trying to reach new heights. I think we will. Off season, it's prime time. It's time to get this money for sure. It's time, man. So I appreciate y'all. This was much longer than what I expected the video to be. Apologize, but if you're still here, much love. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time with another video. Peace.